just one thing, when you're like watching a certain car, just
yeah.
good tip from another streamer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are just on time. It is 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. Welcome to the Online Racing Association's presentation of the British GT Esports Championship. Rounds 8 and 9 coming today from Brands Hatch. We will be getting qualifying underway shortly. I am Snuffleupagus. In the box with me here is Alpha Lead. Alpha Lead, say hi to the fine people.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
We hope they're doing well, although nobody seems to have replied to that, probably because they're either still hungover or it's a holiday weekend here in America, who knows. But we're racing today. We're going to be starting qualifying here shortly. Looks like we're going to have a competitive lobby. We've got some of the top guys in both GT3 and GT4 in this lobby, so the time should be impressive, and hopefully they're close. Taking a look quickly at the standings sheet now. If we go to the top, we can see that, just like in our lobby, we have FTR, Vettel, and Vane. They are racing for Team FTR in their 911s. They are 1 and 2 in the standings. They were 1 and 2 in qualifying at Spa. There's been a bit of a debate over the balance of performance on that Porsche, but it seems to have been mostly resolved, and we will see if they can continue their dominant performance up to this point in this round here at Brands Hatch.
Yes,
Alpha.
the FTR.
Yeah, go ahead.
The FTR guys have been very strong in this season, and with the disappearing of HCR, they're pretty much just taking over this championship, and they're just looking for wins at this point.
Yeah, it's...
So qualifying will be underway shortly. Looks like the lobby is getting the final drivers into position. Start this off.
Take a look down the grid here and admire some of these liveries if we can. Alpha, can you still hear me? Sorry, I had to change my microphone over there.
Yep, they hear you perfectly.
So, it seems as though I'm still broadcasting in game chat. We're going to try to fix that, because as nice as it would be to have a pit lane audio, I don't think they want to listen to me.
Yeah, they might want to be more focused on plugging in those lap times. Brands Hatch, it's very important to concentrate on your lines, especially in the final sector of the track where it's very fast right and left-handers. Like, you really need your full attention to nail and not go off to the grass. So looking at the drivers that will be participating, we're gonna have and hopefully that will lead to a good race. Looking at the lobby assignment customers that are in those lobbies, looks pretty sharp.
It certainly does. This track is quite a bit different from Spa, so we might see a shakeup in the order from what we saw there. At the same time, some of these top drivers, these guys at the top of A lobby, are so quick that I think we might see the usual suspects return for rounds 8 and 9. And like I said, this is a double round, double sprint race event. Last time at Spa we had the 1 hour endurance. This will be 2 30-minute sprints, with the grid for the first race being set from qualifying, and the grid from race 2 being set from the results of race 1. That could lead to some interesting positioning.
You're certainly right on that. Doubleheader races usually have a different style of, or a different mindset when racing these type of races. Not an endurance race like we saw at Spa, just quick sprints. So every mistake will cost you big time, and you need to pay attention a lot more to what you're doing, because like I said, it will cost you in this very short race. We're
About 8 minutes. Oh, sorry. Qualifying was due to get underway at noon. We're about 8 minutes behind. Not quite sure what the wait is for here. We might be waiting for a couple of people to get into the lobby.
Yeah, so at this time, we're just waiting for everyone to get into the lobby. It takes this opening lobby sort of has some delays, people trying to join in last moment, disconnects, things like that. That could slow the party down. But hopefully we will get underway.
Yeah, so we're hearing that it is, in fact, a couple of people that are missing from the lobby. There seem to have been some difficulties with either the Microsoft servers or somebody's internet connection. I know it happened to me trying to get into this lobby just to watch it. I wasn't able to join the first time. But hopefully we'll be able to get those resolved and get underway shortly.
I'm looking through the cars entered in this race, and GT racing usually produces quite the diversity of cars used, and we're seeing this today with fairly diverse grid of cars in both the GT4 and GT3 categories. We'll have to see how those cars, what lobbies they'll end up once qualifying is over, but we have a good amount of BMWs, McLarens, healthy field of Porsches and Aston Martins. So it's only a few BMW M4s in the field in the GT4 class, but the M4s have some good drivers in them, so we'll see how they get along.
making a couple of changes to the audio here. I was getting a couple of complaints about the relative volume, so we're just tweaking those so that they can hear you better, Alpha. Apparently, Zai wants to hear your beautiful voice and just complaining that you're getting drowned out by the game.
No, that's a problem. Maybe I need to speak up a little bit more?
No, it was
know.
me. I had the mix not quite set up right, but I think you should be coming through loud and clear now. I had you a little too quiet, the game a little too loud, and the generic rock music in the menus is as entertaining as it can be sometimes. I'm not sure. I guess they just want to hear the commentary instead, which I appreciate. Thank you, Zai, for chiming in and letting us know.
Yep. Everything is going to be perfect. Currently waiting just for 2 drivers, so once those 2 drivers join, we will start the qualifying session. Meantime, I'll talk a little bit more about this course. Brands very small left and right hand sweepers, very sharp hairpin type of corner. Very, very complex track to get right and especially be fast at. Not a lot of not too many large straightaways to really let out the cars that might be a little faster in the straight line. This is definitely a handling course, and passing can be very, very difficult. So qualifying is very important. You need to get a good track position and stay ahead. And with the GT3 and GT4 cars out on the track at the same time, traffic management will be very, very, and staying out of trouble as well.
Yeah, and you're right about this track being difficult to pass at, and part of that is because it will really punish mistakes that you make. With so much of the track being bounded by either slippery grass or just gravel, putting a wheel off in anywhere, but especially in some of the wrong spots, will be very costly. So while these drivers are known to be fast and aggressive, we might not see some of the moves that we saw at Spa, where you have a large tarmac runoff that can save you.
Yeah, there's pretty much no runoff here. Once you go off, you're in the grass or into a wall, which is not ideal.
While we're waiting for a couple more drivers to join the lobby, let's see if we can't take a quick look down the list of entrants. We have SFM Darkser, shout out to Dark, in the Swordfish Motorsports Audi number 923. Bold blocks of color on there. Hopefully all the color will stay on the car and off of the other ones. Right after him, FTR Vettel in the Stars and Stripes 911 RSR. I comment on that livery. I really love that livery. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me being an American homer, but that is beautiful. HCR No Mercy, who we got a good look at Spa in the black R8, and FTR Vane in the sister car, the other FTR RSR. TUS Ajax in GT4 in a black and white scheme on that M4. That's striking. I like that a lot. FTR Bobby is running the number 611. BRZ, black and green. EJ Ballistic in the McLaren. Looks to be primarily silver with the blue mirrors. I can't read the sponsorship on the side, but EVR Mead has a triangle livery going on his Cayman, number 212. Zai in the other Swordfish Audi R8. Let's compare that livery really quickly. Yes, they are the same, but the 2 Swordfish cars. Wearing the black and white and orange and blue. Oops. Mistake. They call me Bubs, classic black and white livery on his 370Z. Merciful in the yellow Vantage doesn't seem to have a number plate on the side, but that may just be a livery bug. Alpha. Oh, that's you. I gotta say, that's a heck of a livery you got on your M Coupe there. I always liked the clown shoe.
Yep, fantastic sea lobby car.
Just a fantastic car in general. Heck, take that up. Take it up as high as it can go. The world needs more clown shoe.
Couldn't agree more.
Looks like we've got Keith in the red, white, and black McLaren, and then Craggan in the, well, maybe it's just the Astons that are having a livery glitch right now. It doesn't seem to have a livery, and I hope that loads for the race, because I know a lot of these painters put in a lot of work to make their cars look really top-notch, and it would be a shame if we weren't able to see that. So let's hope that that resolves itself. It is now 12:17. We may be waiting for just a couple more. Let me ask a question here about what our launch time is looking like. Well, we went over the individual standings earlier, showing Team FTR at the top, and shout out to SFM's Eye running in third after the last round. Let's take a look at the team standings if we can here. Put that up on screen for you. As you can see, Team FTR, courtesy of winning most of the races, is first in teams, followed by Virtual Pertec in their M6s. SFM Dive Bomb is third, and that was a battle that we saw play out throughout the Spa round. It may be that we get a repeat of that today. In that race, SFM Zai held off the Pertecs of Jamjar Hastings and... oh, you know, the names are escaping me right now. But had a heck of a drive to hold third place. So those top three in the standings, I believe two of them are going to be represented in this quali lobby. So we'll see how they do and if they can get themselves into a lobby for this race today at Brands Hatch.
And if we go down to the GT4 rankings, we have the AX4X Martini Porsche team in the lead with actually this is the individual drivers points, but on that team of AX4X we have EVR Mead in the Porsche leading by quite a bit of points, almost about 30 or so points ahead of his teammate EVR Huracan, but actually they're not teammates, they're on the same team, but they're running the race with they're running the series on a different team, with EVR Huracan being in the Beach Dean Motorsports Aston Martin Vantage. Third place we have Slothatron in his Subaru BRZ for Team FTR. He is not that far behind Huracan in points, just looks around only 4 points behind EVR Huracan. So that's a close battle in the championship for GT4. We have the next two in points, MNR Edwin and the Clemmy Bubs, right there in the points as well. And with these closing few races, it's important to get as many points as you can for the final round. Hopefully you can end up with the win. And if we look at the team points, we have Midnight Club Sports on the top of the GT4 teams, with an over 100-point lead from Team Get T Ready. So the team's points are a little bit spread out in the GT4 division, but the individual standings is looking pretty close.
So it should be a close race in both divisions, and part of that is due to the quality of this track. This is a track that really will help bring out the best in its drivers. It's been around for a long time. I mean, Brands Hatch is, I believe, 60 years old, nearly. I mean, 50 or 60 years old. It's been in Kent, England, and it's been a sort of a mecca for British motorsport for many years. We're coming home. The World Cup trophy might not have come home, but British GT is coming home to England this week after taking a vacation in the forests of Belgium last month, rather. And it is a 3.9 mile circuit, so shorter than Spa, only 9 corners, but each of them is challenging in their own way. The lap record here is held by a Williams of Nigel Mansell in Formula One. We won't be seeing those sort of speeds with these GT cars, but the track does present a challenge, a different kind of challenge for these slower, less aero-dependent cars. Speaking of less aero-dependent, the Audis, with their lack of front downforce, might find some of these corners to be a bit more challenging. We know that in Sector 2 at Spa, Zai said he was struggling for front grip. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, we might see that again here because there are a decent number of corners that are fairly high speed and are going to require a lot of confidence in the front of your race car.
Yes. One thing I'd like to mention, the people in the chat, please keep your pants on. That'd be great.
Who did it? Who was it? Oh, well. Okay. I was going to say I'll allow it, but no, yes, keep your pants on. Foon, we'll talk later. Looks like I've been told that we should be getting underway in about 90 seconds, so we're not going to put it on a clock or anything, but hopefully we'll have some action for you. Oh, it looks like we've got something happening.
Yep, I guess we are just going to start without the 2 drivers. Hopefully they can figure out their issues and still be able to hop in for the race starting at the back of the field. But here these cars will get underway for the qualifying session.
And we are underway. The cars are ghosted, of course, which would explain why they phase through each other. It's a little bit of Forza magic. But on our outlap here, let's see who gets to the front of the pack.
Looks like the 2 FTR cars are getting ahead.
Yeah, on this outlap, while we are not getting much useful information, let's just hide the race info screen here and take a look at these beautiful cars as they race around this track. Looks like that livery glitch has persisted into the race, so unfortunately those Astons will not have their liveries. That's a shame. Maybe that'll fix itself for the race, but at this point there's not much we can do. Let's see here. Let's go on. Right now we're on board with TUS Ajax, but I just have a feeling that Vane might be the first to cross the line. And let's catch his flying lap. Here he is, across the line into turn 1. FTR Vane is on his first flying lap of qualifying. Alpha, why don't you give us the call on this one? See if you can analyze his lap.
All right. Looks like he nailed it through. Sorry, one moment. Just trying to get some information. All right, so right now he's going through Surtees right now. Really trying to make sure he can get a great exit down this straightaway, maximize the speed, and get all he can out of this lap. Into Hawthorne's Bend, really clean line there. You really got to be patient with the throttle. You don't want to push too hard and end up in the grass because you will just go right into the tire barrier, or if you don't go on the tire barrier, lose tons of time. Van with a huge slide there. That's what happens when you turn it a little bit too early and get too much into the grass. Kicks the rear end of the car out a little bit sideways. This might not be the best lap he could do with that mistake there, but you can see he's definitely pushing really hard to the final corner in the Clark curve and down the bottom straight to finish his first flying lap. So that will put him on pole for now until the rest of the cars make their way through. Going to change to lap times to see what lap time he just ran there. So Vane Vane getting too much onto the curb and kicks the rear end of that Porsche out sideways. He recovers, but that's going to cost him the speed he needs down the straightaway now.
Looks like Vane put down a 1:25.5 on his first flying lap, putting him 2 seconds clear of FTR Vettel in second. SFM Darkster came in third with a 1:26.3. Those are your top three after our first flying lap.
FTR Vane's really pushing this Porsche really hard with a few mistakes. But if he can keep up the pace, it looks like he will improve this lap. Even with the bit of sideways action.
And he has improved. It's a 1:25.3 from Vane on his second lap. Watching the timing screen now to see what happens in second and third. Can anybody best a 1:25.3? No. It was odd. I had a. That's unless it was. That doesn't make sense. He did a 1:25.3, but Vettel's jumped above him on the leaderboard now with a 1:25.5. Would that have been a dirty lap, perhaps? It didn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. But it does look like FTR Vettel. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. We'll have to check in after the race to see the lap times, see if that's correct.
Big
but in the
slide from Vane
meantime,
there.
Vettel's pushing really hard to nail the final corners here.
Hop back with Dark here as he comes to the line. See if we can pick up his time as he crosses. Looks like he's going to stay third. Zai is still fourth, so it's the FTR cars 1 and 2, the SFM cars 3 and 4. Kind of what we expected going into this qualifying session, but a bit surprising to see Vettel above Vane. It's take a quick look back at the GT4 cars. They are, of course, qualifying in this lobby as well. I believe the current GT4 leader on pace is... Yes, it is. It's FTR Bobby in that BRZ. Setting a 1:31.8, so about a 3-second gap between the GT3 and GT4 cars, well, as he has a bit of a moment there coming out of Surtees. But those two WRT Aston Martins are certainly keeping pace with him. If one of them hooks up a good lap, they could snatch this top qualifying time away from that BRZ.
Yeah, the Aston Martins are sticking pretty close to the rear end of Bobby here, so if they can hike up a good lap just by watching lobby. I know for me personally, having a car in front of me and imagining trying to catch that car usually gets me to go faster. See if those Aston Martins can close that gap and get around Bobby in lap time. Really wish we could control the top bar to keep track of the lap times.
That would be a fantastic feature if we could just pause the ticker momentarily just so we could see where the laps are falling as they cross the line. Looks like it's still Bobby from Craggadon and Merciful. The top three in GT4 have not changed. Let's see if we can go back to the front. At the front, it's still FTR Vettel with the fastest time of the session so far, followed by Vane. Looks like Zai has pipped SFM Darkser for third place right now. Must have had a heck of a lap. As Vane puts down a 24.9, the first car into the 24s today. Well, just when we said that he was a little bit slow, he goes and makes me a liar.
Yep, he really looks like he hooked that lap up really nice. Gonna put him on top at the moment. So currently in this lobby we have an FTR 1-2 and an SFM 3-4. Two Porsches and two Audis.
Yeah, the Volkswagen group is well represented at the front here. They have, of course, a long history in motorsport, and a couple of the finest examples are on track today.
Yes, very, very nice liveries like you mentioned earlier. But right now I'm looking at Vettel's lap time, or watching Vettel right now as Darkser gets really sideways, getting the car on the curb. You have to really be careful touching curbs and grass on this track because it can pitch your car sideways. And that, of course, will lose you time and probably scare you really, really bad. Just see Vettel crossing the line now. Looks like he's not going to improve this time by. But he's running pretty consistent lap times. Of course, this is only just one lobby of qualifying. I believe there's 3 qualifying lobbies.
I believe there are 3 qualifying lobbies, and of course, these drivers are not racing against each other, they are racing against the clock. The top times will be placed into A lobby for the races that are coming up this afternoon, or this evening, if you are across the pond.
We actually have some qualifying times already for one of the lobbies. Looks like they finished up already.
We'll get that timing screen up as soon as we're complete here. But go ahead. What does it look like so far?
So looks like we have Aston Ash and the Aston Martin running a 125.5 at the moment. So that would put him pretty well within this order.
I believe that would put him P3 in this lobby.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid lap time from him. We have another driver of, I think that's Olivio the Jackal. He has a 125.8. That would put him, well, I think third or fourth maybe. Unfortunately, the times shown on the race don't show the fastest lap times, just the last lap time by. It's a little bit hard to keep track exactly the faster lap times. But for GT4, looks like the fastest time has been a 131.5 in set by GTR Warwick.
Yeah, it's about 2/10 faster than FTR Bobby is set in this lobby so far. And I've just discovered, I feel a bit foolish for not knowing this, but if you leave the race info screen up and toggle through the drivers, it shows you each driver's best time as you scroll through. Don't know how I didn't know that. So Forza, for all the times I criticize you for not having that available in the game, I apologize. But it looks like right now, Vane is still the only car into the 124s, setting a 124.9. Vettel about just about 3/10 behind on a 125.2, and Zai with the 126.3 and Darkzer with a 126.3. They are separated by 1/100th, or to be more specific, 11 1,000ths of a second. So that'll be a battle to see which of the SFM cars can pip the other at the line. We should have just a little bit longer to go in this qualifying session, and then we'll be able to get that result sheet up and show you where everybody shakes out as they get assigned to their lobbies.
Alright, so
going back on board here with FTR Bobby to keep up with the GT4 qualifying. He and EVR Mead are only separated by about a 1/10 of a second. It looks like behind them, the WRT cars are still neck and neck.
yeah, showing a good run from a good run by FTR Bobby and the Subaru. Should be a great track for this very lightweight Subaru. Like I said, this track is very much a handling track, so this light BRZ against the much heavier Aston Martins and TMWs in the fields should be looking pretty strong. Though it does have a weakness down the straightaway, but there's really only one that this car would need to worry about.
So I'm seeing a car pulled off to the outside of turn 1, so that may have been the last lap of the session. As we see cars cross, let's see if they do the same. Yes, they are braking and turning to the outside. So let's see, where are the battles right now? We have Vettel coming around the final corner now. Let's go on board with him as we come to the line. Can he improve? Can he be the second car into the 24s to take the pole from Vane? No, he cannot.
He doesn't run a 24, but he does improve to a 125.1 that lap, so he's only a 10th off his teammate.
Let's see, the
2/10 off
last of the runners
rather.
now. Still on track, we have Zai. It looks like he has pushed a bit too hard trying to improve, unfortunately. His last lap will not be an improvement because the gravel is not your friend. That's a shame because he was on a fast one, but that'll be the end of qualifying in this lobby as he does one heckin' spin and then reverses into the gravel and beaches himself. Well done, Zai. Let's put the timing sheet up on the board. If we can remember now, we had Vane on a 124.9, Vettel on a 125.1, Zai and Dark both on 126.3s. So let's see where that would put them on this sheet. 24.9, of course, would be the fastest time in GT3 so far. 25.1 would be the second fastest. Those 26.3s looks like they would be P5 and P6 currently, behind just the two FTR cars, and then Aston Ash and Olivo the Jackal. Of course, that's with only one other lobby having their qualifying times entered. But right now, it looks like the FTR and SFM cars in GT3 are sitting pretty.
Yes, qualifying's looking pretty good, pretty close at the moment. We have a good amount of cars in the high 25s, low 26 range. And then we have the two FTR guys a little bit further ahead.
As far as GT4 times, FTR Bobby ran that 31.7, EVR Mead ran a 31.8. That would put them currently P2 and P3 in GT4 behind GTR Warwick's Aston Martin, which hopefully will get its livery for the full race. Because I've seen that one, and I actually quite like it, and I would like to be able to show it to everybody.
And of course, not all the times are in, so this isn't exactly how the order will be. Once all the rest of the lobbies input their times, we'll get a better split of the lobby. Ruining his qualifying tires.
Looks like everybody's just waiting to get the qualifying results recorded here. Everybody seems to have parked themselves, some of them more gracefully than others. Let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. Looks like everybody's pulled off neatly, parked themselves either on the track or perpendicular off it, but there are a couple of cars that kind of wandered off into the tire wall, and of course this is e-racing, so it doesn't matter, but that wall hopefully is not going to collect anybody during the race. There is quite a large gravel trap there that should keep people out of it, but that would be a very exciting moment if it were to happen. Vane, welcome to the chat. He hates this track. Well, it didn't show. I mean, it's fastest time that we've seen so far. So it's, if you don't like it, you could have fooled me.
Yeah, so now we're just gonna have to wait for all the lobby segments and lobby times to be put down. We will keep an eye out for the order once all the times are in. But right now we do have FTR Vane in the lead at the moment, with his teammate not too far behind. So it does take a little bit of time to get all the lap times in from the three different lobbies. Like our lobby had a bit of delays. Other lobbies could have even more delays possibly. But hopefully we can get everything fixed rather quickly. We can get this race underway. So I'm thinking we could kind of give a more detailed track look by going and doing some laps until the race or qualifying lobbies get a little bit sorted.
You know, that's not a bad idea if people don't mind watching me butcher this track. I might go do that.
All right. Let me just do this.
So I would note that this is a commentator, and certainly not an A-lobby material, but we will attempt to give you... Oh. Looks like I'm going to be joining my fellow commentator here, if it will let me. Come on, establish a quality connection. There we go. I am in. So are we going to demonstrate these in the Brit GT cars? Because I believe I have a GT4 build that is on spec.
Yep, I also have a few British GT spec cars.
I'm blind. I've missed it. Where is it?
Though it's been a little bit of time since I've played Forza 7. I've been dabbling in a bit of Forza 4 lately. Just remembering the good times. But I will be taking out a M6.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch to a GT3 car as well. That way, at least we'll both be on screen with each other.
Okay.
I believe. Is it that one? Yeah, it's the one that, of course, doesn't show up because the thumbnail is broken. But there we go.
All right. Beautiful Falcon livery Porsche.
I would like to take credit for that, but I did not paint that. Foon, thanks for the shout out for the Rigsy Porsche. Yes, that is my paint job. That is my car. You will be seeing it if you watch that. I don't know what channel that will be on, but we'll address that later. Oh, there's a beautiful black Swordfish M6. I gotta tell you, those Swordfish colors really are striking. The contrast between the orange and the light blue and the black. Looks like you may be stuck on a black screen, Alpha, because you still got the loading wheel for me.
Yeah, stuck on a black screen and can't see anything. So hopefully that'll fix itself. No, but yeah, that BMW was our ASCC livery for our efforts there in that series. I only ran one race in which I smashed into the wall at turn 1 at Homestead and went a lap down for pretty much the rest of the race. After running, I think I was in 4th or 5th. But SFM took a 1-2, I believe, in that race. So, pretty good outing. A little black screen. Hopefully this will fix itself.
Well,
No,
while
we may
that
have
is
to,
while that is loading, let me see if the live timing sheet has been updated. And if it has, I'll put it on screen for our viewers here. It looks like it has, so let's throw that up for everybody to take a look at. It looks like we said, Vane and Vettel, P1 and P2, so it's another Team FTR Porsche front row lockout. The VPRs of Assassin, Jamjar Hastings, and VPR Torque fill out the spots behind Ashton Ash and Olivo the Jackal. They must have been in the third lobby that didn't have the times in yet. So that puts the SFM Dive Bomb Audis in P8 and P9. Followed by, it looks like that McLaren of MRT A&M, then the EVR Bolton Aston Martin GT3. Down in GT4... if it'll let me scroll down, thank you much. Looks like we had a lot of people not qualify, but EVR Huracan on the GT4 pole with a 31.5. GTR Warwick with a 31.54. Those two only separated by 3/100ths of a second at the front. Oh, and we're racing. I've loaded in.
We can just stop and keep looking at the times.
Well, then I will do one. Ignore that. None of you saw that. So we're waiting for lobby assignments to come up here. It looks like all the times have been entered. So as of right now, we're just waiting for the lobby splits. As we are supposed to be a bit impartial here, but I have to say I really do hope that we see both those SFM cars make it into A lobby, and since they're both in the top 10, I think they should. Alpha, if you can remind me, what is the lobby split? Is it top 8 or top 10 for GT3?
Yeah, I believe it's top 8. I guess it depends on the amount of GT3 and GT4 cars, because typically have 15, at max 15 to 16 a lobby. And if there's 49 cars, I'm not sure exactly how this will be split up, but it should be top 8 in the GT3 category, or top 8 for both GT3 and GT4, possibly. It also depends on the cars that didn't qualify, because I know sometimes if there are known fast drivers starting at the back, they possibly could put it up at the front, so they're not just destroying the lower lobby. So many cars running in the 26 range.
Yeah, there's a very tight group from about P5 to P12, it looks like, in GT3, only separated by 0.6 across those 7 cars.
Yeah, very close, and also close in the GT4 category. Well, in the meantime, while we wait for the order in the race and the lobby settings, I guess we can show you guys a preview of the track here.
Yeah, I'll try to do it without crashing this time.
Or maybe we do and show how easy it is to get it wrong.
Yeah, this RSR is not an easy car to drive. It takes a really particular kind of tune to really get the best out of it.
I'm not actually sure what tune's on this BMW. It's probably still at the Homestead tune. As you can see, very sharp, very fast left and right-handers makes up this track. Few turns, few slow corners to navigate, but many of these corners are pretty fast. Definitely need handling and downforce. Let's go a little bit wide there. That's very easy to do in that corner. Going through Westfield Bend now. Very fast right-hander, but the hardest corner, in my opinion, is the turn 7 here. Very hard to nail, because if you turn a little bit too early, you'll hit the curb and run wide. And if you get on the throttle too early, you end up in the grass. And when you're going that fast, ending up in the grass is not fun. Going down the start-finish straight, Brabham Straight. And into the first corner, which is also very difficult and blind. Right-hander down the hill. You need to prevent yourself from getting the tail end out, like I did.
And I did.
Yep, cost you loads of time. Going into turn 3 and entering the Cooper corner. Or no, it's the Surtees actually. So I got up to 150 miles per hour there. So not the big straightaway, but it's good enough if you have a faster car. Stretch out the legs. Good passing spot when you're trying to get past GT4 cars. If you catch up to the tail end of a GT4 car, especially in the beginning few corners and the last few right-handers, that'll be very costly sitting behind the GT4 cars. You really want to catch them in the start straight and the straightaway in the middle of the track. Turn 2 is going to be a great passing spot into Druids, nailing the Paddock Hill Bend and diving into Druids. Good passing opportunity. Surtees can be a passing opportunity as well. Mistakes are made. You do have to be careful. There are many different lines to take through Surtees.
None of those lines, however, are the line that I just took. That there are many lines, most of them are not right.
And just went off in Hawthorne Bend. I broke myself a little bit.
I can never get that corner right at the top of the hill. That is a mystery to me.
Yeah, that is a very hard corner to manage. Always one that gets the heart rate up a little bit. Trying to make sure you nail that corner. So, pretty fast track. Difficult to overtake and drive on. Gonna check now and see if any of the lobby assignments have been it doesn't look like they have. Actually, no, I haven't been assigned yet. We do have quite a bit of cars that didn't qualify. It's like 1, 2, 3, 10 GT3 cars and 5 GT4 cars didn't qualify. Because we do know that 2 of the cars had problems connecting to the race or to the qualifying lobby. Alright, so now I'm gonna try a qualifying style lap, just go as fast as I can.
Wish I could go on board with you, but I can't because I'm driving.
It's a good possibility this lap will end in tears anyway, so it's fine. This track, I don't think I've actually ran too many times in a more organized race. Of course, I've raced it in Forza hoppers, but not too many official races. I know I've ran on the Indy circuit and touring cars and production cars. Alright, well, I made a few mistakes there, but I had
look,
a
on the
27.3.
27.3 is not bad. On the bright side, I'd forgotten that they had a Forzathon this weekend, an event where everybody who plays Forza and completes just one race gets 1 million credits, so I am now 1 million credits richer.
Oh. I guess I am too now. Interesting. Alright, looks like we now have...
We have lobbies?
I believe so.
Alright, well then, let's get out of here.
Though on my lifetime it doesn't show lobby assignments yet. Might be just on my end though.
Yeah, I was going to put the live timing screen up on for all the viewers, but I don't have any data on the live timing screen right now. There it is. Okay. So it will be coming up shortly for everybody. You should be seeing the live timing on your screens now. And it looks like, yes, they took the top 9. So both SFM cars are in a lobby. Well done, boys. Well done, Zai and Dark. We're going to be rooting for you. Let's be honest. We're a little bit of homers here. Looks like Foon's rooting for SFM in the chat as well. Alright, Foon, try to keep your pants on this time.
Oh, and Zai's favorite crew is going to also be in that lobby with the 3 virtual PerTech Racing BMWs also going to be in a lobby.
You know, I'm feeling a bit like Bill Murray. Have I done this day before? Have we been here?
I think we have. With this much smaller and tighter track, I think we're in for a pretty good show here. But now Zai is going to have some reinforcements with Darkster there.
And if anybody here watched the Formula 1 race this morning, I think you will know just how important it can be sometimes if you're trying to do a heckin' strategy to have a teammate around to help cover for you. No spoilers, of course. This is a spoiler-free chat, at least until tomorrow. If you haven't watched it by tomorrow, all bets are off. But teammates are important.
Yeah, that's for sure. We do have three pretty good teams here. Only two independent drivers going to be in A lobby with Aston Ash and Olivio the Jackal by themselves against the FTR, Virtual Protect, and SFM team. So they're going to be all by themselves defending from pretty strong teams. Did a great job to qualify third and fourth, though, in front of both Virtual Protect and the SFM guys. So if they took the top 9 in GT3, I'd imagine it would be the 6 GT4 cars. So if that would be the case, we would have should have EVR Huracan, GTR Warwick, FTR Bobby, AVR Mead, Drifting Hero, and WRT Kragadon. If they're going for a full 16-person lobby. And so if we had that order, we would have 3 Aston Martins, 1 Subaru, 1 Porsche, and 1 BMW. Time is very, very close. Within so the 6 cars there would be within 7/10 of each other's, and Drifting Hero, or no, GTR Warwick qualified just 300ths off the pole time of EVR Huracan, and FTR Bobby is only 2/10 off of that time. Another 10th back would be EVR Mead, so looks like it's going to be a close race in GT4 as well.
Yeah, with 2/10 only covering the top, or only 2/10 covering the top 3, they're certainly close enough on pace that we should get some good on-track action. And again, this qualifying is going to set the order for race 1. Race 2 will be set based on the order from race 1, so you don't want to throw away your second race. Obviously, they're both scored, but you don't want to make a silly move that puts you way out of position for the start of race 2.
Right.
We'll just put Forza back up on screen here now that we've checked up on the timings, just so we can get some nice cinematic shots of the Falcon Porsche RSR. So anybody who's listened to me will know that I wouldn't call myself a fanboy, but let's just say an enthusiast. I am appreciative of the lines of basically all Porsches, but especially this one.
It's a very gorgeous livery. Reminds me of a couple years ago when the Falcon Porsche ran in IMSA. I just got invited to the A lobby from Darkzer.
Is he hosting? Or I will try to join as well. Let's see.
It looks like he will be hosting. And I will be right back.
Sure thing. So we're just waiting for race 1 to get underway here. This is the British GT Round 8 Brands Hatch GP circuit. Looks like we are reloading the track, getting a brief glimpse here of the pit lane. Like Alpha said, we may have a 3-team fight here with the VPR BMWs, the FTR Porsches, and the SFM Audis, although we would expect the FTR Porsches to be at the front and off the front based on their qualifying times and their performances in this series to date, with Vane, I believe, having won the last 5 rounds in a row. But there are also the 2 privateers here in A lobby. Well, not privateers, they are on teams, but Ashton Ash representing JDC or THR Motorsport in his Aston Martin GT3, and Olive the Jackal representing Team MRT Hunter in his McLaren MP412C. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. That's the teal livery. It'll certainly stand out from the other cars on track. We will be doing 2 30-minute sprint races around this 3.9-mile track of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix layout, the full circuit, not the Indy circuit, although that would be hilarious if we were to put GT3 cars around Indy and just watch everybody try to fit onto one tiny track. Sounds like Alpha's joining me back in the box here after getting a quick report from the pit lane. Alpha, what'd you learn down on the pit wall?
All right. So what I learned is, I don't know what I learned actually.
Well, I've got a report of an equipment change. Sounds like SFM Zai has switched to a new controller, and in fact, I remember this. We were discussing with some other teammates. He'd apparently been racing with a classic Xbox controller with no vibration in the triggers, which I believe means no feedback for either locking brakes or getting wheel spin. And he'd been doing pretty well, but now he has a new Xbox One or Xbox Elite controller. I forget which one it is. It's not sure it's not a wheel, it's not a full sim pit, but many of the fastest drivers are using controllers, and now that he has that extra bit of feedback, let's see if he can use it to go just that little bit faster.
Yeah, running a controller without vibration is pretty tough to do. I've had that happen where, battery's too low and you don't have vibration mid-race, and it turns your world upside down. You're running at first, and all of a sudden you're spinning out every lap because you can't feel how much throttle you're putting in or when you're about to lock up the brakes.
Yeah, I have to say I've experienced that as well when the vibration goes out, and you don't notice how much you rely on that sensory feedback that you get. I'm not particularly quick, but when I don't have it, I notice that I drive much worse. So if I were to go from being quick and not having it to then being quick and having that extra feedback, I can see how that would help.
Yep, and Sothtron, good job
Hey,
for
welcome, Sloth.
making it into this lobby. So let's see, we have. So right now we have 4 GT4 cars in the lobby at the moment. Let's see if I need to refresh so I can see the actual lobby assignments, but said there were going to be 6 GT4 cars.
Yeah, it looks like the 6 GT4s should
Okay,
be EVR Huracan, GTR Warwick, FTR Bobby, EVR Mead, and FTR Slothatron. So 2 EVRs, 2 GTRs, 2 FTRs in GT4. It's a team fight all the way down.
Yeah. So pretty much a team fight in both the GT3 and GT4 class.
And
So
for those...
was
Sorry.
just gonna say, it looks like we're gonna have a 20 lap race with the initial out lap and the last lap to, or the 23rd lap to collect the results. So,
Speaking of the team fight, if we can go back to that for a second, I just made a connection. I hadn't realized until now, but with Team FTR USA, Virtual Pertec Racing Team 1, and SFM Dive Bomb all being represented by 2 drivers each, I believe, in the top lobby. Those are the 3 teams that are at the top of the team standings in GT3.
wow, yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah, you're certainly right. We do have FTR quite a bit ahead of Virtual Pertec and SFM, but Virtual Pertec and SFM are fairly close in points. So these last few rounds will definitely be important for those guys to beat each other in the championship. And Virtual Pertec and SFM has had quite a bit of rivalry for quite a long time between each other. So beating each other is a priority for both of them. Certainly for SFM.
So we are away from the grid now. This will be the formation lap. For those of you who are not familiar with motorsport, I doubt there are many of you if you're watching a Forza stream on a Labor Day weekend on Sunday. But if you're not familiar with this format of racing, we will have a formation lap where the cars will travel around the track at a reasonable pace, and then they will form up again as they approach the start-finish line, and they will go in rows 2 by 2 as they reach the start-finish. Right now, they're just warming their tires, warming their brakes, making sure that they don't damage their cars on the outlap. The most important thing is to get around safely, but that's why you'll see them weaving back and forth, trying to get heat in their tires. This is a short track, so they don't have as much time to get those cars up to temperature. But I'm sure by the time they get to the light, or get to the stripe rather, they will be nice, hot, and ready. Sort of like my breakfast was this morning.
Sounds good. But yeah, this doesn't take too much to get the tires up to operating temperatures, but it does take maybe a couple laps or a good warm-up lap to get the pressures up. For me, I run a tire pressure usually requires a few laps to get in line and run some fast lap times. But right now we're starting to approach the start line, and we see the 2 FTR Porsches running side by side, preparing for the start.
And now that I've just had an idea for the start, instead of staying in the cinematic camera, why don't we employ the services of our friendly neighborhood helicopter so we can see this from above as they dive into turn 1?
Sounds like a solid idea.
Well, it did until the helicopter angles tell us absolutely nothing. But here we go, we'll watch it from the top. As Vane and Vettel go side by side along the starting grid, there is the line, and we are racing. We are underway for the TORA British GT Esports Championship, round 8 at Brands Hatch. Vettel right on the back bumper of Vane as they go through turn 1 into turn 2. Looks like we've gotten away cleanly. Looking back down the field, no major dramas so far.
Actually, we have a bit of a mix up there at the start. Looks like Aston Ash got into the gravel just a little bit to allow Jackal to get by his McLaren. So that McLaren is up to P3. Aston Ash is running a little bit wide with the 2 Pertec cars now on his tail.
Let's go back and take a look at that fight. Oh boy, you're not kidding. That is a heck of a pack forming up there behind third, fourth place.
And the 2 SFM cars already displaced one of the Pertec BMWs. Oh, and contact between Aston Ash and Assassin. Looks like Assassin had a bit more mid-corner speed than Aston Ash, and got together a little bit. Didn't cost them much time. Good opening laps here. nice and clean.
Let's take a look back at the GT4 field, see how things are developing there. Oops, I missed by one. Sorry.
So, EVR Huracan is leading the GT4 category in his Aston Martin. Looks like FTR Bobby was able to get past one of the. Actually, is up to second place with EVR Mead right behind him in the Porsche Cayman. So the Aston Martin looks like he's pulling out a little bit of a gap. Could be from the battle they're having for second place between EVR Mead and Bobby. So good opening, clean laps from these guys.
Let's take a look here.
Going
We got.
now to.
Sorry, where are you headed?
I was looking back at the front of the pack, looking for the battle for fourth place. Assassin getting a little sideways there. Corner exit. Two FTR Porsches are now just checking out from the field.
They really have. I mean, it's not surprising based on the times we put down in qualifying, but after only just a couple of laps to see them almost a full corner ahead is always remarkable once you see that spacing on track. I saw a move in the background there. It looks like one of the SFM cars might be up to 6th place.
Looks like we have a pretty major battle for 6th place actually. And Aston Ash.
Alpha, if you can hear me, I've lost your audio. Well, that's a shame. I'm going to talk over you for a bit here because it's not coming through. But it looks like, yeah, this is a three-way fight right now for 6th place. The two SFM cars of Darkser and Zai have Aston Ash pinchered in there. And it's going to be a tough spot for him to fight his way out of. He wants to attack, but of course, if he commits to a move too aggressively and he doesn't get it done, he's going to open himself up to Zai coming up from behind. However, as these three are fighting, they are going to be costing themselves time. The VPR cars, other than Torque, have pulled away at the front. Oh, Darks are wide and into the grass at the exit of the final corner, but keeps it together, keeps it on the track, and under control into turn 1. Nice recovery there. Try to sort out this audio issue so we can get Alpha back here and get his commentary. Still can't hear him, but don't rest assured. For those of you who are used to hearing his soothing voice, he'll be back momentarily as soon as we get it sorted. We are currently on lap 5 of 22. The lap ticker at the top will say 23, but we are racing to the end of lap 22. The 23rd lap will be used for results collection. So we have 17 laps remaining after this one, and so that puts us about almost a quarter of the way through the race. So, Alpha, let's get a mic check if we can. That's a shame. Let's head back to the front and see just how much of a gap the FTR cars have opened up. Actually, let's pull up the track map to give you guys some context. So as you can see, FTR Vane leads FTR Vettel, and they are almost 1,000 feet ahead of third place, all of the Jackal.
Alright, can you hear me now?
There we go. Alpha, you're back. Thank you. Was the word we lost you for a moment.
Alright. Yeah, I had some connection issues there. Network issues, but looks like it's good to go.
Well, you didn't miss a whole lot. But we were on that fight for fourth a little bit. I went back to check with the lead to see, or just mostly to watch these two check out here, as they're now a little over 1,000 feet ahead of third place after 6 laps. We are now on lap 7 of 22, about almost a third of the way through the race already. This one is flying by. I know we said it's a sprint race, but even for a sprint, it feels like it's going awfully quickly.
Yeah, I was looking at Assassin while I was working out my issues, and he was right up on the back of the Jackal for third place, but started to make some mistakes getting into the grass and costing him speed in corner exit. So he's slowly letting Jackal get away in the McLaren, and Hastings is starting to close in a little bit on his teammate.
I have an interesting report in the chat that Vane, in fact, uses the Force to drive his car. I'm not sure if that's allowed. We might have to report that to the stewards. I believe you are required to use a steering wheel and pedals, unless you have a special dispensation. So,
you'll have to watch any the Forced activities. But right now, so looking at the battle for second place, UR Mead still pretty close to FTR Bobby for second place. Subaru versus Porsche. See Huracan just a little bit in the distance. Hasn't really checked out, but he's still starting to pull a pretty good gap. We have FTR Bobby's teammate, FTR Slothotron, right behind, not too far back from this battle as well. And Warwick is falling a bit off the pace. I believe that car would have qualified pretty well up the order.
Warwick, I believe, qualified P2 in GT4.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what problems he has run into to be at the back of the pack right now. Doesn't look like he has damage, so he might have just went off into the gravel trap and shuffled to the back of the field.
It doesn't seem, with these sprint races, it doesn't seem like, oh, here's a chance for Mead to get by. I don't know if you're watching this battle right now, Alpha, but Mead is right on the back of Bobby. There was a bit of a mistake there coming out of turn 4, and on the run down to Surtees, Mead pulled right up onto his back bumper, and they are nuts to butts, as they say, as they head up into Hawthorne.
Yeah, I saw Bobby make the mistake there, and that really hurt his exit speed, allowing the Porsche to close in. Bobby should be in the strong suit section for that Subaru. As I say that, Mead almost looked up into the inside of Bobby. That would have been a very close and hard to pull off move he did into, I believe that was Dinglebell corner, turn 7. Exiting turn 8 now, and Bobby's stretching his lead just a tiny bit there. Down straightaways. Like that Subaru has the legs down the straightaway compared to the Porsche.
It looks like he's recovered from that mistake and put a bit of a gap in now. Let's take a look at this fight between Darkser and Aston Ash, as they are now very close together. They've separated themselves as a result of this fight. They've separated themselves from the cars ahead and behind, but they have certainly not separated from each other, as Ash has a look up the inside, but he's not going to try to make that move there. That would be nearly suicidal.
Yeah, the Aston Martin has good exit speed. That big V12 engine pushing this car along right on the back of Darkster. Darkster, very hard opponent to pass. So if he can keep out in front, um, yeah, not only is Darkster a hard person to pass, but this track is also just naturally difficult to pass on. So
To get an idea of just how difficult it is to pass, let's actually go on board with Aston. Let's just go onto his hood cam and watch, so we can see what he sees.
yeah, he's right on the back of Darkster. I'd say his best bet is to get a good round of Surtees on the straightaway and use the power of that Aston Martin to try to get alongside Darkster. So he is close enough to get the draft, but you can't necessarily dive bomb in this corner in turn 6 or turn 5 and 6. They're going up to turn 7 now. With Darkster running a
Darkster's
little
running
bit
a bit
wide.
wide. Yep, he's gonna be forced to go defensive here. He does, and he's gonna park that car in the apex, make sure there's no way for Aston Ash to get past.
He's doing a really good job. Darkster could be just kind of backing Aston Ash up until Zai closes in, helping the teammate out. If they keep this up, Zai will certainly be up and close to this battle. And Aston Ash all over the back of the Audi, smelling the V10 as Darkster and Aston running very wide in turn 3.
Now that you mentioned it, I've just gone on board with Zion. He has closed up massively. He'll be on the back of this fight momentarily.
I'm going to be looking at the time intervals and keeping track on how close or how much Zai can close in. Oh, and a mistake there from it's Assassin, who was running in 4th place, and Assassin's going to be
Oh, Aston
and
Ash comes off. Oh, what? That's incredibly unfortunate. He tried to go around the outside of Assassin there, as he saw that Assassin was slow and just got forced onto the grass. And once that happened, that car was not going to stop until it found the gravel.
yeah, um, Assassin had the inside, and looked like he was going to try to slot in between Aston Ash and Darkster, and Aston Ash was not having it and tried to outbrake himself. Aston Ash is going to dive into the pits now. They do have one mandatory pit stop, so with that mistake, he can just go into the pits and hopefully he can get some good lap times by himself. So this is going to put Assassin right on the back of Darkster, a few car lengths back. We did see Assassin making a few mistakes when he was in 4th place, running wide and making a lot of mistakes. So it's unfortunate for him, but this is going to help out Darkster. And Zai is going to be a little bit closer to this battle as well. Now looking at Jam Jar Hastings starting to close in on the back of Olivio the Jackal and the McLaren as he makes a mistake. Olivio the Jackal runs wide into the grass, and that's going to allow Hastings to close in within 5 or 6 car lengths now. So very easy to make mistakes as we see Jackal getting sideways. He dives into the pits now. That's going to be a pretty bad outlap for the Jackal. If Hastings can run some good lap times, he will be right. Could pop out right in front of the Jackal once Jam Jar makes his pit stops. But
Two more cars are in the pits. It looks like it's see if I can make sure. It's Darkser and Zai have both pitted together on this lap, so it looks like the SFM team is going to keep to their primary strategy, pitting exactly halfway through the race. And the SFM mechanics have played a bit of favorites, and it looks like Zai is going to get out ahead of Darkser. I don't know what happened at pit exit there, but that was very unusual. Because Darkser was about 500 feet on track going into pit entry. I don't know what would have caused him to be stuck in the pits for quite so long, but as it is, it's now Zai P7, Dark P8. As we cycle through these pit stops, these two will have to try not to hold each other up and capitalize on their outlap here if they want to get back up into the positions where they were.
I was just watching FTR Vettel make his pit stops. He was banging his Porsche up against the wall, trying to maximize his pit entrance, but that's going to allow... I'm trying to see where he's going to come out.
Well, we're on board with him right now. Looks like he's going to come out behind this pack of cars. Indeed, he comes out in 5th position, but of the cars ahead of him, who has not pitted? Let's see, it looks like VPR Torque, I do not believe, has pitted.
And Assassin and Jamjar have also not pitted, so right now, pretty much FTR Vane is still up ahead, but VPR Torque is now right ahead of Vane, and not only will Vane have to try to get by FPR or VPR Torque, but he also has some GT4 lap traffic up ahead to deal with. A Porsche very slippery down the straight there, closing up to the back of the BMW. This could be disastrous if things do not go well. Vane, VPR Torque goes in the inside of the Porsche, VPR Mead. Ooh, and Mead was not letting Vane get by there. Vane had to force the issue on the lap traffic to get by, forcing Vane to get into the grass just a little bit. He continues underway though, clean. VPR Torque deciding not to pit again, and it looks like that's Jamjar in the pits. So Jamjar pits from the lead. That's gonna leave 2 cars yet to pit. VPR Torque and Jamjar Hastings. We have Vane starting to close in the back of Torque again. Of course, Vane is the faster of the 2 drivers, and he's getting held up.
But not for much longer. He's going to go up the inside there at, I believe that's Surtees corner. He's gone up the inside, and he is going to be through. So that will
a good move.
That will release him, and this Aston at EVR Huracan shouldn't hold him up too much. Let's jump back to the fight right now between Darkser Zai and Aston Ash. This is a 3-way battle that we have going on. And I believe all 3 of these drivers have pitted, so this is a 3-way fight for position. Zai up the inside. Oh, had to back out of it. Would have been an incredible move at Hawthorne to dive up the inside there. But Zai is on again up.
Clean pass by Zai. That was very nice pass there into turn 7.
I didn't want to change the camera on the stream for the fear of getting the black screen that would cause a second. We just caught that in the background, so sorry to Zai for not getting the full effect of that, but what a move.
Yeah, Aston Ash was recovering after running wide into the gravel. Doesn't look like he lost too much time though, because he's still right behind this this battle.
You know, he's not behind it. He's right alongside going into turn 1. As a matter of fact, he is ahead. Aston Ash has passed, and here comes Zai again as we head into turn 2. This battle is just not going anywhere. Zai up the inside into Druids, and he's going to come out side by side. This is intense.
Yeah, a little bit of contact from Zion Aston Ash. You see Darkseid running wide there, a little further ahead. But yeah, Aston Ash looks like he was ran wide by Zai a little bit, not giving too much room for Aston Ash to deal with. That's going to drop Aston Ash back a few car lengths, but he's still there.
Jamjar Hastings, I believe, still has not pitted. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yep. Jimjar hasn't pitted yet, and neither has his teammate of Torque. Torque hasn't pitted yet. He's in 4th place.
So that would make Jackal net 3rd, Assassin net 4th, Darkser and Zai net 5th and 6th right now on track.
Yep. And all the GT4 cars have also pitted. So we still have EVR Huracan in the lead. And then followed by FTR Bobby and EVR Mead. Warwick and actually all the GT4 cars are still fairly close. Pretty much within the Cooper Strait.
Yeah, the whole GT4 pack can be covered by about 700 feet. Take a quick look down that GT4 order, see if we... They're going to be working with some GT3 traffic coming through right now, which might interrupt this battle, but let's get back to this fight for 8th position between Ash and Zai. They are going at it again. They are side by side yet again. Zai gets by before Hawthorne. He gets the move done before the corner this time. But as these two are fighting, it's letting Darkster just drive away from them ahead. I think, though, they don't care. At this point, they're not racing for the overall position in the race. They are racing for 8th place, and it is a fight tooth and nail.
Yeah, this battle continuing pretty strong. I was just looking down the GT4 order, and I was watching the Jackal trying to get past. I think that was EVR Mead, and they had a little bit of contact with that McLaren trying to get past EVR Mead, but looks like issues have resolved, and the McLaren is back in front of the GT4 car. So a little bit of lap traffic making a bit of a mess, as it usually does.
I briefly went on board with EVR Mead here just to see if there was any damage on his car as a result of that contact. Looks like he's got a couple of battle scars on the side, but nothing too serious. And then, of course, I stuck around for a minute just to listen to that Porsche Flat 6 sing.
Yeah, it's a great sound. Right now, I'm looking at Assassin trying to make his way through the GT4 traffic now.
You know, I would take the camera there, but I'm just going to leave it here with Zai and Aston Ash because they are still separated by less than a car length. It's been 4 laps of constant nose-to-tail, right up the tailpipe running between these two. They've swapped places about 6 times. This is an incredible battle.
And while that's unfolding, a little bit of contact between Softron and Assassin. And actually, this with Assassin trying to make his way through the GT4 traffic, it's allowing Darkster to close up right onto the back of Assassin now. So Darkster is now going to be battling for 6th place while trying to pass the front-running GT4 cars.
Aston Ash makes a dive up the inside. Can he make it stick? I don't know. Zai's back on the inside. They're just going to swap positions. At this point, I'm convinced that this is simply going to come down to whoever is behind when they come into the last passing zone will be ahead at the end of the race. Because they're not worried about pace at all. All they're doing is passing each other at every opportunity. The gloves have come off.
Yeah, certainly with I believe we have only 2 more laps remaining. 3 more laps rather. We're going to be ending the race at the end of lap 22. So this closing battle is now going to be taken into some traffic. The GT4 car is not too far ahead. They're passing Slothotron right now. So this battle is already intense by themselves, but now they will be mixing it up with the GT4 cars.
Looks like Zai lost out through that battle there. He got caught up behind Slothotron, and it's cost him about 200 feet.
But it could come back to him once we get up to these few GT4 cars. EVR Mead hasn't.
Oh, there's contact between Aston Ash and EVR Mead, and like you said, Zai is right back in it again. EVR Mead, hold your line, please. Thank you.
Looks like Mead's not necessarily letting these faster guys get through easily, having to make them work to get past, but looks like Zai getting a little bit loose there into the grass. Aston Ash dives in the inside of Bobby.
Well,
here wide. Oh,
well, that's that fight over for now, but let's keep an eye out. Jamjar Hastings is in the pits, and he is on his way out now. He has finally taken his pit stop, as has... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Zai and Aston Ash just went off in turn 7 together. And they just can't get away from each other. Zai went off, and Aston Ash went off, obviously on purpose to keep up with this battle.
Well, I feel ashamed for leaving that at exactly the wrong moment. I went to check where Jamjar Hastings was going to come out because Oliva the Jackal was running him down. It was going to be a race for pit exit, and Hastings came out just ahead. And of course, as I went to see that battle for a podium spot, I missed that.
Good. Yeah, we'll check out. Yeah, so Hastings was able to get by the Jackal there. We did see Jackal make a few mistakes going into the into his pit entry, and Hastings stayed out for a while. So Hastings staying out and running clean laps has paid off for him. He is now in 3rd place. We will be entering our final lap now with a pair of FTR Porsches crossing the line now to mark the final lap. Vane is right on the back of Vettel. I don't think... Oh, Vettel actually getting a little wide there, letting Vane close up just a little bit. But you gotta think, because these are teammates, they won't do anything too severe to ruin the race for each other. Two FTR Porsches having a dominant performance in this race. Quite a big lead to the 3rd place car. If you look at distance, Jamjar Hastings is 22 seconds behind the leading pair of Porsches. They are not bad.
I was going to say, barring a mistake of some sort, it looks like the running order is going to be fairly settled as long as Vettel and Vane get through this last corner cleanly. But stop me if you've heard this before. The 2 closest GT3s on track are Aston Ash and Zai, and they're dealing with GT4 traffic on this, the final lap of the first of these 2 races. Looks like Zai has just gotten past EVR Huracan to put that Aston in the way, and he's... Ooh, okay. Aston Ash makes the fair move to get through. Aston Ash has 3 corners remaining to see if he can catch up to Zai, or if Zai is going to consolidate that 8th position in race 1 here. Meanwhile, it's like FTR Vettel. Did I miss a... Hold on, that's not possible. Did I miss a change of the lead at the end of the race?
No, FTR Vettel
Oh, it was just. Is it just how they're parked up? Because on mine, it's showing Vettel P1, Vane P2.
No, I think, yeah, Vane was made a few mistakes going into the pits and allowed Vettel to get ahead, and Vane was closing in on the last lap there and got within a few tenths away from the battle there. But yeah, so the FTR will finish first and second, and Jemdrar Hastings puts puts his BMW into third place. Olivia the Jackal with a good run to finish fourth in the McLaren, and Assassin, after a few mistakes, ends up in fifth place with SFM Darkzer behind him in sixth. Torque in seventh place. SFM Zai is going to be eighth, and Acid Ash is going to round out the rear of the GT3 pack. In GT4, we have EVR Hurricane. Actually, the GT4 cars are
I believe
still
they're still
going.
racing because they need to complete their laps.
Okay. And they would have just completed their lap there, so EVR Huracan is going to take the GT4 class win. Right, and then we have okay, looks like we're gonna have EVR Mead in second place. Or no. Looks like Bobby made a mistake there. So the GT4 order is going to be EVR Huracan and the Aston Martin in first place. FTR Bobby is going to finish in second place in the Subaru BRZ. EVR Mead and his Porsche Cayman is going to finish in third place. FTR Softron in fifth. And GTR Warwick is going to finish out the rear of the field in his Aston Martin and 14th. So good battles in the GT3 race. GT4, the GT4 race was led the entire way by EVR Huracan. Not much competition there, but he didn't necessarily dominate this race. But yeah, so now they'll finish their lap time or this lap, and we will get ready for the second race, another 20-lap race for these guys. Just see a bit of a drift session going on now. EVR Mead had a pretty sick entry there, but EVR Huracan was not having it and just punts him off.
So that will set the starting order for race 2, fairly similar to the order for race 1.
Yep, bit of a change with pretty much after the FTR guys. We have Aston Ash going to be starting at the back now, and Jamdrar Hastings is going to take his place in third place. And then the Jackal will start the same place he started the first race in fourth place. As the cars cross the line to finish their final lap and collect their awards. Then we will be moving on to the second race. And we should be getting started pretty much right away. I don't believe anyone disconnected from that race. So everyone should still be here. All they'd have to do is set the grid, and we should be good to go.
Well, there it is. Now that we are back in the lobby getting ready to start the grid, or set the grid for race 2, it looks like the livery glitch has fixed itself, so we can now appreciate the Rockstar livery on GTR Warwick's rather loud Aston Martin Vantage.
Yep, any Rockstar livery is going to be pretty loud. It's a pretty good livery, though.
I'm gonna put the timing sheet on screen here momentarily as soon as it comes up. There it is. So there we have the confirmed results from race 1 in A lobby. Vettel able to beat the pole sitter Vane, and then Jamjar Hastings coming from 6th on the grid to take 3rd. That drive he had, once he got clean out in front and made the decision to delay his pit stop because he was putting in good laps, seems to have paid off handsomely for him. We'll be starting race 2 here momentarily. Looks like we're waiting for one person to join back into the lobby.
So we're going to see if they update the standings as they happen.
I just checked that it doesn't look like we have real-time points yet because the points haven't updated on the live timing sheet, and I think that the standings pulls from the points on live timing, and since the points don't update until the rounds are complete, it's not going to update in between races. It's a shame, but it's a good thought.
Yep. Yeah, so just waiting, like you said, for one person. Should be joining pretty shortly. Hopefully. Does seem to be some server issues and a bit of trouble connecting sometimes. So this second race will still be 20 laps. But of course the order is going to be different from how the race ended up and how the race finished. So that first race was pretty exciting. We saw a big shuffle from pretty much third back. The FTR Porsche's dominated that race there.
It looks like we're resetting the lobby, getting the grid order set, and we'll be underway here for race 2 shortly.
So I'm currently sitting on a black screen. So I might have to start if this doesn't fix itself. Oh,
It looks like
and
you've
I've
been kicked, Alpha.
yeah. I'll join in again. See, speaking of lobby issues,
Do you need an invite, or are you able to rejoin?
I'm joining right now, so
Okay.
should be good to go. Here we go. Okay. And thereafter, Bobby just connected again. So once he readies up, I'm not sure if we have to reset the lobby or not. Once that happens, we can get this second race underway. We'll have one pace lap and 20 laps of racing. There we go. Lobby has been reset, and once everyone readies up, we can get this race underway. Unfortunately, with my issues, now all the liveries are broken.
That's unfortunate. The good news is on stream, I believe we still have all the liveries. The Astons have fixed themselves, the Alphas, so that's some wishful thinking. Alfa Romeo, if you're listening, you aren't, but if you are, please make a GT3 car. Just, when you make the new GTV, when it happens, because we know it's coming, we've seen the teaser, when the Giulia gets made into the GTV, just give it to us as a GT3 car, please.
Hopefully they heard our request. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of the earlier stages of Forza 7 when deliveries were broken and we just had default liveries. But it'll be fine. Waiting for a few people to load in.
Looks like VPR Torque is still loading into the lobby. The Vane flashing the ready button. Yeah, we know you're ready. We're all ready. We love to get racing. We're just waiting on the servers to let it happen. And we've lost Huracan. Hopefully that doesn't mean we need another lobby reset, but Huracan is back. Torque is... it's just not letting him load. This is bizarre.
I'd imagine these server issues could be caused by PAX West going on in
Oh,
Seattle.
is that... I'd completely forgotten about... Excuse me, I'd completely forgotten about that.
Yeah. Could be the cause of our troubles with all the video game competitions going on over there, taking up all the server space.
I would hope that Microsoft would have the capacity, or at least the planning to install the capacity for something like this, but these are issues that we've had in the past with Forza. They can be overcome. Looks like Torque has disconnected, and he's probably going to attempt to rejoin here momentarily. He's either restarting or just resetting. Should be just a couple more minutes, and then we'll be underway with race 2.
With the EVR Hurricane drawing again, now I can see his livery, at least.
Yes, his farmhouse dairy ice cream livery. You know, it kind of makes me want some right now, but I'm on a diet. Curse you, EVR Huracan.
So, while we wait for this lobby to open up, SFM Official has made a YouTube channel where we will be uploading our older races we broadcasted, like the last round of British GT. We have the North American Touring Car Championship races there. We have a few Aurora events. I think we should have the 8 hours of Silverstone as well. Give a link to the channel. Currently, we don't have anything there, of course, because we need to get all the videos there. I actually can't give the link because I'm not signed into this film official. I'm not a mod of the channel yet.
So it seems as though we are having some issues with both the lobby and the party that the racers use to communicate with each other. These server issues seem to be a bit more widespread. This is it's not unique in the world of esports, but in the world of motorsports, this doesn't usually happen. Usually you're able to connect to the track just by being there, but of course, it seems as though the entire party, the racers used to communicate, has died. So while they attempt to re-establish communication, we will do our best to keep you appraised of the new start time.
I'd like to mention a few things for TORA. There's going to be quite a lot of events going to be surfacing up pretty soon. We have the Trans Am series going to start pretty soon. Trans Am, a very popular series, just North American muscle cars doing battles at pretty great racetracks. That series has always been pretty good in terms of entries. Very close cars. Looking up when the first race will be September 13th at Laguna Seca for two 13 lap races. So that will be a Thursday series. So that will be a good race to do if you guys have an afternoon a free afternoon and want to run some short races, check out Trans Am. And then no IndyCar and TC. The next round of those will be starting pretty soon. Might try to stream some Trans Am races because those races are usually pretty good in terms of action and quality. TC, of course, we will be streaming that. The next round.
It's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
Be back in the
Yep.
forests of Belgium. Well, hopefully not
Yep.
in the forest, but
Maybe that too. We'll see. We'll go back to Spa, like I said, for 8 hours. That'll be an interesting race to see. And then the next round of British GT is going to be the final race. And oh, actually, I'm going to leave the lobby real quick just to hopefully join back to see liveries, since there's already better problems going on.
it looks like the standings have been updated now that points have been inputted. They was apparently waiting for all drivers who had raced in the first race before it would allow points. There has been no change. The top 3 drivers in GT3 are still Vane, then Vettel, then Zai. Vane leads from Vettel by a little under 70 points. Vettel over Zai by just over 50. HCR No Mercy, only 4 points behind Zai. However, with No Mercy being in B lobby, it's virtually guaranteed that Zai will extend that points advantage. All right. Looks like we are getting underway here. The lobby has been set, the grid is formed, and we are ready for our formation lap. Alpha, were you able to get, are you able to see what I can see now?
Yeah.
All right. So we are away on the formation lap for race 2. Again, same number of laps. We will have one race. We will have one formation lap, and then we will begin racing at the start of lap 2, all the way to the end of lap 22. Alpha, if you could keep an eye on the Twitch chat while we do this, because I don't think I can see it anymore. Just in case.
That's fine.
Just in case anybody decides to take their pants off again. Please no.
Softron commenting on the BRZ not performing well on the track. I think finished, or one of the BRZs finished second place, I believe.
Sorry, bringing it back up for you there. So, what are your predictions for this second race, Alpha? We've seen the relative pace of each of these racers in the first one. Of course, we saw the 2 Porsches take off, and we saw the massive scrap that happened behind them. Who do you like in race 2?
Well, of course, the FTR guys should be running away with a race, hopefully, or that's what it looks like. With Vane set the faster lap time than Vettel, I believe. So Vane's gonna try to look to beat his own teammate. But for third place, that's where the Pro Bowl is going to be at with Jamjar um, and with the McLaren
I believe that's
of
Olivo the Jackal.
Olivia.
Yeah.
Yep, right. And the other VPR teams and SFM, the SFM guys, they'll be looking for a good battle. Looks like we are going to be hitting the green flag now.
There it is. We are underway for race 2 of this British GT Esports Championship at Brands Hatch. Looks like the GT3 field got away cleanly, no major incidents. And we are green.
Jamdar not getting a great start. He got shuffled down to 5th place now with Jackal up to 3rd place, and I think that was Darkster jumping into the 4th spot. And now we have the 2 FTR guys starting to get a bit of a pace through the field. And now we have Darkster starting to close into the back of Jackal for 3rd place. That Audi getting a great launch out of the corner. We have, I think that should be Jamjar still behind. Looks like Darkster. Oh, Darkster tried to make a move there, looks like, on Jackal, but made a mistake. Forced him into the grass a little bit. I'm not sure if he fell into the clutches of 5th place there or not.
Well, let's take a look back there and let's have a look. Looks like Darkster has indeed fallen back to 5th behind Jamjar Hastings.
Yeah, so it looks like he tried to go on the inside of Jackal, and instead of spinning out Jackal, he just tried to brake and locked up and went off.
You know who I don't see at the back of this queue is SFM Zai. Wonder if something's happened. Let's take a look. Let's bring up the track map. Indeed, Zai is quite a ways back. He must have gone off or been pushed off at some point because he's lost almost 600 feet. Well, somebody's off at the outside there. Looks like it might have been one of the Astons or VPRs. It was a yellow car. Hard to tell. There's Zai, or Darkster rather, making the move for 4th around the outside. Oh, and there's contact behind.
Whoa. Yeah, looks like one of the BMWs going off there. Looked like the car was just pitched sideways. He should have been able to recover that.
GTR Warwick has gone off on the outside of that corner as well back in the battle in GT4. But we're not going to leave this battle for GT3 just yet.
We're looking at Jamjar Hastings right on the back of Darkster. Darkster made that great move around the outside into turn 7.
Yeah, let's go take a look at the battle for the lead. Vettel is still in front of Vane by virtue of starting in front, but Vane, of course, set that he was the only man to get into the 24s in qualifying. So we know he has the pace. And the question is if he can find a way past his teammate here. Of course, he won't try anything too bold because they wouldn't want to throw away a big points haul. But if he gets the opportunity, I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah, they're running nose to tail right now. 2 Porsches very hooked up and on pace with one another. Doing great, holding on right now. Clicking on to the 5th lap of the race now. Essentially 4 laps of race pace already passing by. And Vane right on the back of Vettel.
FTR Bobby down in 14th, quite a ways back. I didn't see if he pitted, but he's nearly half a track behind the rest of the GT4 field, so I'm going to say he must have. That'd be an incredibly
Yeah,
early pit, but if he was stuck in traffic and thought it was holding him up, maybe that was his strategy to get clean air.
yeah, it is only a 30-minute race, so if you did decide to pit early, you still could make it on fuel. So he could
Oh,
be.
there's Vettel into the grass on the outside. It's going to give Vane the look, and here he is up the inside. They're side by side as they head up the hill into past Dingledell. And let's see, does he get the move done? He does. Vane has moved past Vettel to take the lead of the race, and coming into the end of lap 5 here, our pole sitter is back in front of race 2 of the British GT Championship here at Brands Hatch.
That was a great move. Looked like a bit of a mistake there from Vettel to let Vane by, but they went by cleanly, and they both will carry on and extend their lead. I'm curious now, though, because of that early pit from was that Sothatron that made that early pit?
I've already forgotten. No, I don't think it was. I think, was it Warwick or no, Bobby. It was Bobby.
No, it was, yeah, Bobby. All right, so since Bobby did make that early pit, he could be actually no, he's still further ahead, but he will certainly be the first cars the GT3 pack will meet, and when you're running by yourself, it tends to be a little bit smoother dealing with traffic, just letting them by. So this could pay out for Bobby. Have to see how the rest of the GT4 are doing, if they're battling pretty hard or not.
Well, speaking of the GT4 battle, here it is right now. Mead, Slothatron, and Warwick are all nose to tail as they head up the hill towards Hawthorne. Down the hill now, rather.
This would be the battle for second place in class.
That is correct.
I believe. If Warwick's still ahead.
And this may have been why Bobby elected to eject from this battle. If he thought that this fight was going to cost him so much time that he could actually run cleaner, even on old tires at the end of the race, assuming he can make it on fuel, which I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's done the math and he can. Being able to run effectively consecutive quali laps for the rest of this race could put him into a good place on strategy, and we'll have to see how it shakes out once these runners here start to pit. Let's head back to that GT3 fight, though.
Yeah, looking, Darkster starting to close in on Jackal there. So Darkster looks like he's on the move to get up and by the third place car. The rest of the car is not too far behind. Looks like Aston Ash trying to close in as well on the back of one of the BMWs.
Jackal making a late decision to dive for the pits. Well, that's I'm not sure what the rules are regarding using the blend line, but that was a very late decision to dive.
Yeah, now this might not play into his hands as well as he might think, because now Darkster's going to be running in clean air.
And not only that, but depending on when he comes out of the pits, there is a car coming down start-finish that might hold him up once he gets out. So let's see what the race looks like at pit exit. In fact, yes, that's Assassin right on the back of the Jackal. So the Jackal is going to come out with cold tires straight into a fight. And if he has to defend, this is going to cost him even more time on his outlap.
Yeah, it certainly is. And looks like he got a little bit sideways there on corner exit. But Assassin and the Jackal were battling pretty close early on. in the first race. So Assassin does have the pace to hassle the Jackal, as yeah, that'll certainly cost him a little bit of time just on his outlap being in a battle, and laps after that as well if things get a little bit too heated between the two. Yeah, so this could possibly play in good hands for Darkser. And where is Zai in relation to this battle? If he pit or not, I'm not sure.
I don't believe he has
Oh no, he
pit,
didn't
but
pit.
he is in 7th right now, just behind VPR Torque.
Okay.
And when I say just behind, I really do mean just behind. There's battles happening all over the racetrack right now.
Yeah. See, so like the leading pair of cars are starting to close in on Bobby, if that's who that is.
That is indeed FTR Bobby, and let's go take a look at what he sees as the two leading Porsches come roaring up in his rearview mirror.
It's still going to be a few corners before those Porsches get to him. The Porsches could make a tactical
Oh,
move and just dive into the pits.
I see a car off. There's a car off at Graham Hill Bend. I don't know who it is, though. And I've seen them...
Oh,
Well, it looks like we've had a disconnect because we are down to 13 cars. I'm going to try to identify who it was who we've lost. It looks like it was...
it was Warwick.
It
Sarah
was indeed.
Warwick.
As we see our overall leader, FTR Vane, passing FTR Bobby. Of course,
So Warwick, Warwick was the GT4 leader as well.
Well, we have 2 more cars in the pits. I'm trying to get there if it'll let me. Meanwhile, Aston Ash is still trying to chase down Jamjar Hastings. First car out of the pits was Darkser and Zai. So Dark and Zai, again, on the same pit strategy. They did this last race where they both pitted on the same lap. And Zai is going to come out ahead of the GT4 traffic, so he's going to have clean air. Let's try to find the next closest fight on track. You know, and I think it's going to be this battle between Hastings and Aston Ash that we're on right now.
I'm curious to know if Warwick disconnected or if he just possibly just quit, because he was off and just disappeared. Curious to see exactly what happened there, but yeah, we see that battle for third place between Aston Ash and it's like Jamjar Hastings. Of course, they haven't pit yet, so this is just oh, looks like Ash right on the back of Hastings now.
Yeah,
Bit of a mistake from Jamjar.
Hastings had to take the defensive line there and cover the inside. He's clearly feeling the pressure. And as a matter of fact, is he going to have a look? No. Oh, but he's still there. He's still there, and he might get a better run because it looks like Hastings was a little bit wide and had to lift. Not this time.
Had a bit of had the Forza screen there. Someone possibly disconnected.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I'm going to look. We have 13 in the lobby. We started with 16, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And strangely, I don't know if it's just because of pit sequencing, Assassin is actually behind 2, I believe, of the GT4 cars. And he is now a lap down.
Assassin.
Look at his car.
We did see Assassin battling with, I think that was um who was that? I think it was the Jackal he was battling with when Jackal pit, and Assassin was right there with him. So unless they got Assassin made a mistake or something.
Well, the only close battle on track is still this fight between Aston Ash and Jamjar Hastings. They're catching up to GT4 traffic here now. Everyone else seems to have spaced themselves out, either through a pace or pit strategy or a combination of the two. Everybody is pretty much outrunning quali laps. Oh, Bobby getting loose right in front of that fight. That's not going to help their pace at all. Oh, Hastings in the grass. Nearly rejoins right into the path of Ash. Good avoidance by Ash, though, to get out of it and stay out of the back of Hastings. Yeah, we now have fewer cars on track, and the ones that are have spaced themselves out. So it's going to be interesting to see. This is just a pure fight on pace now. Not as much overtaking, perhaps, as we saw in the first race. Now it's just who can put down the quali laps, lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, we see both the. Oh, now this is the battle for first there with the two FTR guys pitting there.
Yeah.
So I have to see where they'll come out now.
Well, Vane has pitted, and it looks like Vettel stayed out.
Okay.
Unless...
Look, I thought it showed Aston Ash in second place.
So yes, it looks like Jamjar Hastings and Aston Ash are now first and second. VPR Torque is third. You know, perhaps you're right. Vane and Vettel did both pit. I just missed Vettel in the pits. My mistake.
Yeah, I think they might have pit a lap apart or something because we did see only one of the FTR.
There's Vane off. Vane is off and in the gravel. He's recovered, and he's running again, but that's going to feed him right into the clutches of Vettel. Or was it Torque? That's odd. I have Vane highlighted on the selector, but it's not actually switching to him.
We did have that pause there. Is it possible that
Here it's switching now. All right, that was odd.
There he goes. Yeah, bit of a delay there or something.
So it wasn't Vane that was off then, even though he was selected. As we see the Jackal coming around, this is going to be a race for pit exit. And it looks like the Jackal is going to get by. And so that's going to put Jackal up into 5th place. Jamjar Hastings moves down to 6th. As the battles start to heat up again now that the pit sequences are completing. Darks are down in 7th. And looks like Zai in 8th. Although the top 3, or excuse me, is it just Aston Ash? Aston Ash is the only driver now ahead of the leaders who has not pitted.
Wait, okay, so if Dark's a pit, where's he now?
Darkser is now 7th. Wait, has Jamjar didn't pit. Why is he so far back? I wonder if was it one of the VPR cars that went off when I had the glitch that wouldn't let me select a car?
I think it might have been one of them at least, because it did show. I think one of them was in front of Vettel when Vettel was running by himself. So I'm curious to see if the Jackal was able to get past Darkser after that pit stop, because Darkser was battling with the Jackal for 3rd place before all the pit stops cycled through.
Well, let's go on board with the Jackal here, because he made that early stop.
Right, and I would imagine Darkser should have been pretty close if there was no mistakes, but it doesn't look like Darkser's close at all. So I wonder if Darkser had a mistake, because he's now in 7th, right? Yeah, so with Darkser being on 7th now, I wonder if he made a mistake there, because he was right with Jackal before all the pit stops happened. And he pretty much had an advantage because Jackal pit and he had the battle with Assassin to hold the spot. So interesting mistakes and strategy coming into play in this race. Curious on the GT4. What's happening in the GT4 battle now since Warwick disconnected?
Well,
He
it looks
was
like EVR Huracan is still leading GT4. EVR Mead not very far behind though. Only a couple of car lengths. Behind them, FTR Slothatron is P3 and GT4, and FTR Bobby is P4. And we are down to 13 cars in the lobby. That would explain the gaps, but it doesn't really explain why the SFM cars ended up where they did. We'll have to wait for a post-race debrief on that.
Yeah, they really fell down the order after either pit stops or some sort of incident. But
Well,
we see
one of the cars out here, Aston Ash, is still running laps all by himself out front. Let's see if he pits this lap. So let's go on board with Aston Ash and see if he's going to make the dive. There he goes. He is into the pits.
that was a perfect and clean pit entrance. So he should be the last of the cars that haven't pit yet.
That'll put Vane into the lead. Vettel should go by into P2. And let's go on board with... No, Torque will easily go by. Let's see where the Jackal comes out in relation here, because this should be close at exit. It looks like the Jackal has gotten out ahead. In fact, that was a slow pit stop, and it's fed Aston Ash right into the grips of Jam Jar Hastings.
Yeah, so Aston Ash is going to be coming out in 5th place, and Darkser should be still in 7th. Yeah, so yeah, something happened with Darkser to fall so far behind, because he definitely had 3rd place in grasp. I'm not sure what went on there, but continuing on, we have. It looks like we're gonna have a battle for 5th place between Hastings and the Jackal.
And this battle is going to be a fight both for speed and for a bit of tact, as they're going to run through what's left of our GT4 field here shortly.
Yeah, we've seen some of the GT4 cars not letting the GT3 cars by too easily. They kind of do need to be GT3 cars do need to be a little bit aggressive to be able to get by the GT4 cars, especially when they're being trailed or closing in on another GT3 car. Really pushing hard to get any moves done as they can. So this has been a pretty surprising shuffle of the grid, especially the GT3 running order. looking at Jim Jar now. Looks like he's losing out to Jackal in traffic. Or no, not Jackal. Aston.
Aston Ash, yeah.
Yeah, Aston Ash.
Aston Ash is driving himself right back up to the Jackal. Ash might be interested in 4th place here in just a couple of laps. We only have, I think, 3 laps remaining in this race. So if he needs to make the move, he needs to get there now, but he's given himself a chance.
Yeah, he's certainly closing in. This could be a late race battle now for 4th place as Jackal gets very sideways and it's going to completely kill any speed he can get down the straightaway. That's going to allow the Aston Ash to close right in. So this is going to be a battle for 4th place in the last 3 laps or so. So we see Aston Ash, getting sideways. Oh, that was a good save. He got really sideways there into 7, but was able to recover that and continue trying to hunt down the Jackal and get close enough to make a move.
I see someone else in the pits. That's a late stop. I wonder who that is. That is Jam Jar Hastings. Well, that explains some of the shuffle. Or is it? Yeah, it is. So I've just identified that. No, it's not. Okay, it's done it again. It's selected the wrong car. It's Zai? No? What? It's not selecting. Okay, that's really obnoxious now. I wish it would stop doing that. It was VPR Torque, I believe. Okay. Now that it's actually selected the right car, yes, I can correct myself the 3rd time. That was VPR Torque who was in the pits, making a very late stop with just 2 to go. So that will promote Darkser to 6th, Zai to 7th.
So that should be now the battle between Aston Ash and the Jackal. That should be a battle for 3rd place, I believe.
It is. That is a battle for the last podium spot, and it is a fight indeed. They are right on each other.
Yeah, so yeah, that makes sense. Now one of the BMW didn't pit there, so that kind of threw off the order. But now this is starting to make a little bit more sense now, as we will be. So actually, this will be the last lap now for the 3rd position. The top 2 cars are pretty much just all by themselves now. 1st and 2nd are, and as we see Aston Ash diving the inside.
There's
contact. Contact between Aston Ash and Jackal. Aston Ash looked in the inside, and Jackal just kind of went down and squeezed down on Aston Ash. And the battle's going to continue though, and Jackal makes a little bit of a mistake there, running wide. And Aston Ash is going to look up into the inside. He's in the inside there, but Jackal's going to hold off. They're going to go through the last few corners, and pretty much only gets difficult from here on out to make a move. Once there is a mistake, we have, I think that's Jam Jar Hastings there in the BMW, just sitting, waiting patiently.
They get through this corner cleanly, so let's quickly jump ahead just to see. There is Vane crossing the line. He is going to take the checkered flag. Now let's see. There's Vettel in P2. And that takes us right back to the battle for... Sorry, do we have 1 lap to go?
No, this was the final lap. Should be anyways.
No, I believe we have 1 to go.
Right. Oh, yeah. So this is, yeah.
So this is now the white flag lap.
Right. So they will have this battle for 3rd place. Will have 1 more time as Aston Ash looks up in the inside of Jackal again, and looks like he's gonna get alongside the Jackal now, heading into Graham Hill Bend there, and heading now to Surtees. Aston Martin right on the back right in the inside now of the Jackal. Aston Ash with a great lunge, and they're going to be side by side going down the straightaway and heading into turn 5. And Aston Ash is going to get the move done. And looks like the Jackal moved over on Aston Ash a little bit there, or Aston Ash just did a crazy defending line there. And looks like the Porsches are crossing the line now.
Yep, there's
So
Vane
let's
crossing in P1, and that's Vane taking the checkered flag. Vettel in P2. Not much drama there, unlike the first race. But let's go back and see who's going to come across P3. Right now it looks like it's Aston Ash. If he can get through this corner cleanly, then it should be. And it is. It's going to be Aston Ash taking the final spot on the podium, followed by the Jackal, and then Jamjar Hastings. SFM Darkser bringing it across the line for Team Swordfish Motorsports in 6th place. And here comes Zai around the last corner. So a 6 and 7 for Swordfish. BPR Torque coming home 8th, and Assassin a long ways back in 9th. And that'll take us to the fight for GT4. They are still going, I believe. They have one more lap. EVR Huracan is P1 in GT4.
The battle for looks like that's EVR Mead there, so not too big of a difference in distance there between the two cars, as they will be, I think, yeah, this should be their last lap. They were only a lap behind, I do believe. So Huracan having a good run in this race. He's going to pretty much sweep this this round. Should be his this will be his second win now, and this should help him pretty good in the points, as we see EVR Mead there in second place, doing a good job. To finish the second place. So actually this would be the last lap now, so who's that in third place? So okay, so FTR Slothatron is going to be in third place in the Subaru BRZ. So he's going to have 2 podiums to come out from this weekend. He did say his or the BRZs are not the best at this track, but he's going to do a good job holding down 2 podiums for this race, for this round. So good run from those guys, as Huracan's going to be crossing the line now. So he takes the his second win of today. So he pulls off, and we have EVR Mead going to finish in second place, and FTR Slothatron is going to round out the top 3 in the GT4 and the GT4 class.
FTR Bobby gives the whole pack a nice shove as they come to a rest there.
So interesting final race, how that shaked out there. So that will be the end of round 8 and 9 of Brands Hatch.
As there's a huge wreck as they go to finish their last lap. So congratulations to Team FTR, sweeping the wins. FTR Vettel taking the first race, FTR Vane taking the second. Those Porsches continue to be the class of the field in the British GT Championship. As we wait momentarily to see if the point sheets will be updated. Looks like we're waiting for a couple of results to come in from the other lobbies.
So the second race there, that was a pretty good race. A little bit confusing there in the mid stage with some very early on pits and some very late pits that kind of threw off a bit of what was happening there. So
looks like we're getting some messages here. It sounds like Darkstar was in P3, and the reason we couldn't understand why he fell so far back was that he had some sort of mechanical or computer issue. I'm really not sure which, but he's saying that his car just wouldn't turn.
interesting. Alright, but just to know, the cars are finishing, crossing the line now. Lobby will close shortly after that.
So while we head back to the lobby, let's put the live timing on the screen for our viewers here, as we can see the results of race 1 and 2. Let's see, the standings have not been updated, but let's refresh the sheet on live timing. So, it looks like we only had one disconnect, GTR Org. Does that sound right to you? I thought we lost more than one.
I know we lost GTR Warwick. I think that was it. A little bit confusing with some server issues. I think Warwick was the only person disconnected or we lost. And I'm not sure if someone might not have started because of disconnecting problems or not. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, that was certainly an interesting second race, but that will conclude the 8th and 9th rounds of the British GT Championship. There we go. The final points have been updated. And so we are just waiting to see the effect on the standings. There it is. The points have been put into the standings sheet. So now that the Brands Hatch Grand Prix round of the British GT Esports Championship has concluded, FTR Vane continues to lead the championship from his teammate FTR Vettel. No change in the point standings. They both won one race. They both came in second in the other today, so their point gap stays exactly the same. SFM Zai is now level on points with VPR Torque, for this round is level on points with VPR Torque, almost 100 points ahead on the overall though. Just 10 more points back from Torque to Hastings, and then another 30 or so back to No Mercy. The top 10 on points then rounds out with Aston Ash, Anon Caligula, who I believe was in B lobby today, and then Darksir and JC. In the team competition, please.
For the teams.
There it is. Okay, it just took a second.
Mine is still loading, so.
In the team competition, it looks as though the top three are the same. FTR Team USA is still P1, VPR T1 is P2, SFM Dive Bomb still P3, and the gaps between the top three have all widened a bit after this round. FTR's lead in first is a little bit larger, VPR's lead over SFM in P2 is a little bit larger. So we go into round 7 with it, well, not really all to play for. P1 looks to be pretty locked up, but the battle for P2 is still on. Only 130 points. It's gonna take some doing, but it's not mathematically impossible.
Yeah, looking at the team standings, pretty much FTR would just have to not show up or if they don't show up round 7, then they would lose. But
right,
if they do and perform well, which they for surely probably will, they should be good for the team championship. But there's only there is a gap to the SFM or Virtual Protec and SFM, but if SFM has a good race for round 7, they could still win. It's not entirely over, though. The Virtual Protec guys have 3 cars. The SFM's 1.
It was certainly an eventful race. Sprint rounds do tend to do that, since each race, while the first one does set up the second one, each race is much shorter, so when you get an opportunity, you have to take it. And we saw that a couple of times. We saw some very aggressive moves today. Let's take a look down at GT4, because we didn't show a lot of it, but there was some good driving, and it looks like in the standings. What? Well, that. EVR Mead did complete both races, correct? I'm only showing 148 points on the standings sheet.
Yeah, looking at 148. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just an error or something.
Yeah, it looks like he's only getting credit for one of his races. Because I believe if you have both of his races, I believe he should. And actually, the same for EVR Huracan and Slothatron. Looks like the GT4 cars in A lobby only have half of their points for some reason. Let's take a look at live timing and see. Oh, they're showing up on the live timing screen. But they are... Well, I don't know what's causing that issue, but regardless of what you're seeing on your screens now, I believe EVR Mead should be the leader of the GT4 Championship. Second place should be EVR Huracan. And I believe third place should be FTR Slothatron. Although those three are very close. And so that championship should go into the final round, and it should be tense.
Yeah. Looking at the team championship, looks like the Midnight Club Sports team still leading. They also have a pretty large gap to Team Get T Ready, and but the gap to Team Get Ready and the FTR GT4 UK Racing is pretty small. Just around 70 to 80 points is the difference there, so that battle will definitely be taken to the final round. Of course, the final round will be a 1-hour event at Mugello at September 16th, so 2 weeks from now.
All right, well, we thank you all for joining us for this presentation of the Online Racing Association's British GT Esports Championship from Brands Hatch. We will return in a couple weeks' time for the final round, where a couple of these championships will be decided. It will certainly be tense racing. We can't wait for you to join us then. We look forward to it. I am Snuffleupagus. I am joined by Alpha Lead. Alpha Lead, say goodbye.
See you guys next time.
We will see you next time.